Welcome to What If, a segment which discusses whether the latest episode of Doctor Who, Series 10, 2017, what it would be like if it was a Classic Who episode. I am Ben.
I'm Luke.
And I'm Nick.
So, what would the pilot be if it was made like a Classic Who episode?
First of all, companion entrances in the classic show. There was always the Doctor focus rather than a companion focus. The companion would always just be incidental in the story. If we look at, say, Dragonfire, Ace was just waitressing at a cafe that the Doctor visited. So if the pilot was made like a Classic Who story, the Doctor would run into Bill as he was observing the puddles. Perhaps Bill and Heather would just come as a piece together, already form their relationship off screen.
Counter! The Rescue! That is a complete companion piece for Vicky, although that makes sense within the context of the show, because she was billed as the first new companion since Ian, Barbara and Susan. Second counter, Turlough. He was brought in because of a plot arc to kill the Doctor, although again, that's cognizant of the context of the 80s and JNT being slightly mad.
Another counter I would say is, compared to, let's say, Rose, this one is more Doctor-centric than Rose was, let's say. Rose was totally based around the new companion. Here, there are scenes, especially when she goes back to the flat, goes to the bathroom, etc., where it's based around Bill, but the Doctor is definitely a bigger presence in this. He's not as enigmatic.
Yes, because it tries its best to sell the character development of the Doctor for this series, but
he's definitely better than he is in Series 9, but he's not enigmatic like Christopher Eccleston was in Rose.
But yes, usually it would be there would be a Doctor focus rather than the companion focus that New Who has. Another point that differs between New Who and Classic Who is that there'd be very few story arcs, or rather, in this case, the concept of the BOUT, which was put in the pilot for mystery reasons, would be the actual main focus of the episode, rather than a lurking menace.
Chances are that would be what was behind all of the puddles. There would be the Sutek or the Sharaz-Jek figure lurking in the puddles for some reason, to take over the university for some reason.
Only other thing would be, if it wouldn't be solved in this serial, let's say, or this episode, it would be solved in the next 2 or 3. But still, it wouldn't be more than a couple of stories away. Rather, it wouldn't be a whole another 12 episodes away.
And again, it would be the focus of the stories, rather than that mystery box storytelling, which Moffat has been using since Series 5. Yeah,
it wouldn't be, it's a 2 to 5 minute kind of cameo of this. This is the story arc, but then the rest of the episode is separate from it. So the next thing is the chase elements. This appears to be the focus of the story in, let's say, the last 15 minutes or so, that they go about all sorts of locations across time and space, Australia, that planet halfway across the universe, and then into the deadliest fire. This would be a whole 3-hour serial in itself. 3-hour serial in itself. It wouldn't be. You wouldn't have this tacked on as a 1-episode thing alone, where they go to multiple places. It would be the sole focus of the story. The basis that I'm using of this is the chase.
Yeah, the thing is that it's budgetary concerns, which means that you would have to have it in one location for the whole thing. Whereas nowadays, the inflated budget means that the TARDIS can go anywhere and do anything. It is completely unrestrained. It's almost a George Lucas effect, where it's almost too much budget, in a sense.
You say that, but it didn't seem high budget to me. It was just more, or almost just, I don't think it was that high budget. It's just, we have, as you say, more abilities now to make it look better on the cheap. But it's sort of like, if they had maybe done a 2-parter about the whole story being a chase, it might have worked better, and that would be more Classic Who.
One of the main elements comes in with this fourth point that we probably discussed, is that there is a single villain to be foiled, rather than adding Daleks or other things.
Yeah, the Daleks could never just be thrown into the story because that sounds like some plan the Doctor would have off the cuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, the closest you got to the Daleks having a cameo appearance in Classic Who was, I think, the Space Museum, probably.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
But even there, it's just a Dalek casing. It's not actually a real Dalek, and it's not integral to the Doctor's plan to. He just happens to find one and hides in it.
The final point is that there would be less continuity nods, although this is dependent on which era of the show.
Very much.
Yes. If you're in the 80s, you're in trouble. Although I'd also argue, if you were in the Russell T Davies era of New Who, you'd have less continuity references there.
Yeah, there were a few, but they were very, very subtle compared to how we've got them in the last couple of years. With regards to the 80s, so I just watched Time Lash recently, and that one is Moffatian in terms of how many references there are to continuity. The same reason with why was it in Magician's Apprentice that Missy talks about, I don't know, the first and fourth Doctors just happen to be running around, whatever.
What's important with the continuity references in the pilot is that they're the Doctor looking back. However, in the classic show, he was very focused on looking forward to the point where he was always running, scared of his past. Whereas him settling down to have a picture of his old wife and his old granddaughter and keeping his old screwdrivers around seems very, very distant to the Doctor who ripped up his scarf when he regenerated and who didn't recognise his recorder in the Three Doctors.
It's a different characterisation, yes. And those are our points. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Watch the main podcast. Next week, What If Smile was a Classic Who episode? I've been Ben.
I've been Luke.
And I've been Nick.
Thank you. Goodbye.